The first thing all Akbar's and anxiety when he interviews recruits for the Afghan National Army is take their cell phones. He checks to see if the ringtones are Taliban campaign tunes, if the screensavers show the white Taliban flag on a black background, or if the phone memory includes any insurgent beheading videos. Often enough they flunk that first test, but that hardly means they will not qualify to join their country's manpower-hungry military. Now at its biggest size yet, 195,000 soldiers, the Afghan army is so plagued with desertions and low re-enlistment. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Rates that it has to replace a third of its entire force every year, officials say. The attrition strikes at the core of America's exit strategy in Afghanistan, to build an Afghan national army that can take over the war and allow the United States and NATO forces to withdraw by the end of 2014. The urgency of that deadline has only grown as the pace of the troop pullout has become an issue in the American presidential campaign. The Afghan deserters complain of corruption among their officers, poor food and equipment, indifferent medical. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Care, Taliban intimidation of their families and, probably most troublingly, the lack of belief in the Army's ability to fight the insurgents after the American military withdrawals. On top of that, recruits now undergo tougher vetting because of concerns that enemy infiltration of the Afghan military is contributing to a wave of attacks on international forces. Colonel Stanek Zai, the senior official at the Army's National Recruiting Center, is on the front line of that effort. In the 6 months through September, he and his team of 17 interviewers have rejected 962 applicants, he said. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. There are drug traffickers who want to use our units for their business, enemy infiltrators who want to raise problems, jailbirds who can't find any other job, he said. During the same period, however, 30,000 applicants were approved. Recruitment, it's like a machine, he said. If you stopped, it would collapse. Despite the challenges, so far the Afghan recruiting process is not only on track, but actually ahead of schedule. Afghanistan's army reached its full authorized strength in June, 3 months early, though there are still no units that American trainers. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Consider able to operate entirely without NATO assistance. According to Brig. General Dawatiri, the deputy spokesman for the Afghan Defense Ministry, the Army's desertion rate is now 7 to 10%. Despite substantial pay increases for soldiers who agree to re-enlist, only about 75% do, he said. Recruits commit to 3 years of service. Put another way, a third of the Afghan army perpetually consists of first-year recruits fresh off a 10 to 12-week training course. And in the meantime, tens of thousands of men with military training are put at loose. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Ends each year, albeit without their army weapons, in a country rife with militants who are always looking for help. Fortunately there are a lot of people who want a job with the Army, and we've always managed to meet the goals set by the Ministry of Defense for us, said General Ibrahim Hamajay, the Deputy Commander of the National Recruiting Center. The country's 34 provincial recruitment centers have a combined quota of 5,000 new recruits a month. We're not concerned about getting enough young men, General Hamajay said, just as long as we. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Get the $4.1 billion a year from NATO. That is the amount pledged by the United States and its allies to continue paying to cover the expenses of the Afghan military. In terms of soldiers' pay, that underwrites $260 a month for the lowest ranks, which in Afghanistan is above average pay for unskilled labor. The soldier who re-enlists would get a 23% raise, to at least $320 a month, more if he had been promoted. But even as pay rates have risen, so has attrition, which 2 years ago was. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. 26%. The trend is troubling, especially the desertions, as Afghan forces have shouldered an increasing share of the fighting.